Hey everybody, it is ElCid 932 on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. Let me know you are here. Let me know you are here by leaving a comment, by leaving a like. We are here for each other. Hey Ari, glad to have you here. Hey all, I'm here and ready to get into whatever. Now, if you want to know what the whatever starts with, it starts with you posting a question in my comments. And we will start with the comment questions and we will go from there because you know what? This is unscripted. This is ElCid Unscripted. And today we are starting with just a simple question. I want to test something out. I'm putting on, unscripted, whatever, the badge or the picture is, so it associates with what post, so you don't get confused as to where I'm drawing these questions from. Hey Trey Mac, glad to have you here. You got the shades. Are you chilling or are you here to give shade? We got to clarify. We need clarifying questions here. This is ElCid Unscripted. I start off actually with what you want to talk about. And I was kind of waiting for the person who wants to start us off to get into the room, but I can't wait. I can't wait. So the question posed, and somebody said is a great topic. If you had a choice, would you choose to date the way it was done before or after the widespread use of dating apps and social media? If you had a choice, would you date like back in the day before there were, dating apps and social media? I'd like to see what y'all saying. Hey, Debbie, glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. The question that's starting off this unscripted session is, if you had a choice, would you prefer dating the way it was done before widespread use of dating apps and social media? I may be the wrong person to ask this. I may be the wrong person to be a part of this conversation because the way I met my first husband was in an AOL chat room. Now, if you all remember AOL, I should have had the sound effects. If y'all remember the dial-up of AOL, certainly put your hand up in the chat or put a 1 in the chat if you remember the dial-up sound of AOL. And you hope that you make it through and get into the World Wide Web. So I met, I used to be, I used to do my schoolwork and then I would be online in the AOL chat rooms just running amok. So whether it was widespread or not, I was using it. Hey, High Vibe, the question to start us off tonight is, if you had to choose, would you choose to date the way it was done before or after the widespread use of dating apps and social media? So Ari says, yeah, I prefer the way it was done before. Too many men, boys, using dating apps to just be casual and lying about it. Thank you, High Vibe, that you remember the AOL ding, 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 shh, shh. That was not a real rendition of it. I've never used any dating apps, but I like meeting someone through a friend. And yes, I do remember that AOL sound effect. Hey, Jackson Tabasco, glad to have you here. So do we prefer dating now with the dating apps or back then? See, back then, yes, Debbie is like, I prefer meeting through a friend. The friend of a friend don't really mean that they're a nice or good person. The friend knows them one way, and them as a boyfriend is going to be a different personality. So I understand, yes, you having a friend co-sign. I have not done blind dates, have I? No blind dates. A blind meetup, where I'm hanging out with my friends and they say, oh, we want you to meet a friend. He's coming to hang out with us. It's like, no. I'll be polite, but it'll be on my face. No, this ain't it. Back then was the best, I think. See, back then you could also hide. I was one of those young ladies. I had a beeper. I had beeper codes. depending on the number. Back then, you could give a fake number, until the gentleman got smart and decided to call the number right there in front of you to prove that it's your phone is going to light up. Now, when they got smart enough to try that, I was like, dang. Okay. No, no, no. And there was no airplane mode on the phone to say, oh, no, I won't get the call because it's airplane mode. No, no, no. Back then you could write anything down on a napkin and slide it. My favorite was to give the phone number of the grocery store down the street because I knew the number because it was on a big billboard right outside. Back then was the best, Debbie says. High Vibe says, back in the day for sure. I was too young for them beepers, but yes, back then you could hide like we're going into witness protection. Yeah, I understand. I understand. You always tell us about your youth, Ari. We pick up on that. You're too young for beepers. We pick up on that. Totally. Back then, you had the message machine. So if you're out and about and you don't have your cell phone, they will leave a message on the machine and you would click, click, and you would hear the message play back. And sometimes we used to have it on loud while we're fixing dinner or whatever. We can listen to our messages. Sometimes we don't even remember to check it. I sometimes didn't remember. Jackson Tabasco said, back in the day, absolutely. Tremac said, no apps for me, but funny enough, I have met my current lady online. So I'm still a smooth approach gentleman myself. So your smooth approach, you're saying, translates online because you still got the lady, even though it was an unfamiliar setting. I'm just adding a whole bunch of judge to what he just said. So no apps for Trey Mag, but he's letting y'all ladies know he's got a lady and how they got together. In high school, my boyfriend would call and let it ring twice. That was our signal to call each other. High Vibe? Why are you in my head? We used to have a one ring. One ring and hang up. Then I know the next call is going to be you. We had that one ring. High Vibe, I think we grew up in the same atmosphere. It was one ring, hang up. It's like, oh, I know what the next call is to make sure that I'm posted at the phone for when it rings next to be nonchalant. Hello? Let me grab it quickly because it didn't ring fully the last time. I see you, High Vibe. You kind of letting my secrets out the bag. But y'all, how I prefer, I don't care. I have a jack of all trades, master of some. Okay, I met my current husband while on a dating app. Yes, there are a lot of toads, there are a lot of tadpoles, but for me, I learned a lot. I did go on dates. I did learn a lot about the city I'm in. I let them allow me to be a tourist. Like, they will take me to places I'd never been in the city, and just really learn a lot about folks. And so to go to Africa, hey, we started off with the question, do you prefer dating back in the day or the dating apps right now? Many people are saying back in the day they prefer it rather than the dating apps. I've utilized the dating apps. Yes, they're toads, frogs, tadpoles, but I met Mr. ElCid on a dating app. I met some dudes that turned out to be really good friends. Like, I'm the girl that usually would end up in the friend zone. I would end up in the friend zone because we'll hang out and we chilling and we cool. And then it'll be like, dang, it'll be like, dang, shorty, you cool. I wouldn't mess this up. Or it's like, oh, you on that type of time. So again, the energy I give is the energy they give back. Some of the times, not all of the times. But again, it's all in how you navigate. Because in the dating apps, I do not look at anybody who got a picture with their shirt off, a picture in their bed, head on a pillow. I am not looking at anybody that looks in a certain way in their photos, who got a whole bunch of women in photos. I don't care if that was your auntie, your sister, or your cousin. The fact is, or you and other dudes, I don't know who you are in the photos. No. So there's a standard, or how I used to go through and determine whether I even accept somebody's message, or even if I throw a message out there. See, my message was always about sports. If I saw they had sports, I was like, oh, your team sucked last year. How are you coping? That's how I would, but that's when I used to play. I see I was trying to get here on time. Yes, you are here on time. Most people are saying that. Most people are saying, they prefer back in the day to go to Africa. Ari says, I hate the group photo ones for the same reason. Yes, it's like, like the friend, how the friend looks, and that ain't who you are. If you're going to do that, put a circle around who you are, or, blur out the friends. Phone technologies are such that you could clear people out of the photo and just be you. But yeah, I don't like the group photos, or if you're at a wedding, try and get one photo of you dressed up. I like to see well-rounded. You dressed up, you not dressed up, you hanging, chilling, just not chilling without your shirt on in the sheets with a pillow behind. No, no. And the poses, I do look at the poses. How are you posed? How are you posed? Are you posed like this is a prison photo, or are you posed like you hanging out with your family? I look, I am too detail oriented when I'm looking at their photos and the whole profile for me to be like, what is this? But yeah, back in the day, I still, you could still play. As the lady said, you could hide. You can, have a number you could ignore, especially back in the beeper days. If a phone number beeps you and you call it back, you could call it back. You could do *67 and hide your number. P.S. You could still use *67 to this day to make your number private. Just to let y'all know. Just to let y'all know. *67 still works to make your number appear as private. But now we got social media like Instagram. You could call someone on Instagram, and all you know is their Instagram handle, and you never know their actual phone number. Now that I like. That I like. Bathroom selfies, high vibe. Them bathroom selfies where I clearly see all the marble behind you. I know that's a bathroom mirror. Come on. If you're in a bathroom, it doesn't have to be the mirror. You can stand your phone up and take a picture. Daggone it. Do you not know how to use your phone? Please. I enjoyed those long phone conversations. That was one of the best ways to get to know a man. Yeah. If you're on that type of time, yeah, it was great. Especially if you had the long phone cord. Who had the long phone cord where the phone is actually on the wall in the hall, but you have the actual phone? This is before cordless phones. You had the phone in your room and the long cord across the living room. Yes, Ari, the *67 still works. Back in high school, I was a dude to introduce myself to your mother or father just to get the girl. There used to be an art to Mac inside. See, Trey, you wouldn't you wouldn't get to meet my mother or father because you wouldn't know them coming up in the school. See, the difference is, I went to an all-girls high school. I went to a Catholic girls high school. So there's no way for dudes to even be around if my mother's coming to the school to visit. So that really wouldn't work unless we're at a sporting event, like we're at a track event. But even then, my mother knows play. And I'll be like, what? Why are you sniffing around me? You sniffing around me to get to my child? My mother no game, Trey. That ain't gonna work. But if you see that scrunch hanging in the shower, you know there's a woman in the house. Yes. The things you would see in a house to let you know a woman is there or lives there or putting her stamp on it. We're not talking about the earrings or whatever, but yes, you see that scrunchie there? Mm-hmm. Hey, K Sharp, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Yes, the long cord, especially on the kitchen phone, trying to have privacy in the dining room area. Yeah. That's part of the game, L. That's my job to find out. Yeah, and you're gonna find out you're gonna strike out because we know to play. We know to play. You gotta come differently. You gotta come differently. Or a mother like mine might think you trying to mac on her and be like, go sit down, little boy, somewhere. She may not, she may be like, oh, okay. And when I got to my 30s, my mother was, dating in my age group. And she said, don't ever call me mother. We are going out. We are, how can I say it? We are Mitzi and Beth. Don't call me one by my real name, and don't call me mama. Hey, unfiltered doll reactions. Hola, glad to have you here. Y'all, if y'all really want, great commentary and get a real good kiki, please visit Unfiltered Doll Reactions. We have tons of fun over there. Tons of fun. To go to Africa, saying, hey, Just Rhonda 01. Y'all, again, another great content creator, Just Rhonda 01. We usually do Never Ever Mets in the evening tonight on Another Round JS. And she has great content on the housewives, married to, love and marriage. So please check out her channel as well. Not sit down, little boy. Girl, back then it would be sit down, little boy. It would be sit down, little boy back then. But when it was in my 30s, mama would be like, I had friends who didn't go hang out with their mothers. I have friends who never even went out to, a bar to have a drink with their parents. That ain't my life. That ain't my life. My mother was like, okay, we go hang out. You gonna be my wing person. And I'll be like, oh, golly. Because where she want to hang out, I don't want to know. I don't want to hang out. Trey said, knowing the play is one thing, execution of play is another. I will give you that, Trey Mac. But, when you know a player is playing, that's different. If we sit down and listen, that's because we're going to see how far you're playing, but we know it's a no. But hey, you may, as I said, you may trip up and end up with the mama and not the daughter you were trying to look for. And then I had a wall of protection. The dudes I grew up with, oh my gosh, they were blockers. Oh, they were blockers. They were like, to try to even, like my husband right now says, oh no, nobody would have stopped me. I got game. And I'm like, yeah. I had an offensive line. Nobody got through my offensive line. And even if you got through my offensive line, when I moved away from them, I was a force to be reckoned with. So that is another story for another time. So in dating now, let's take it all the way back. Remember, people used to arrange dates and arrange marriages. So let's take it even further. So would you date someone that was arranged by either your parents or your friends? Because friends for me, maybe. Parents, a heck no. A heck no. So let's go to arranging. Would you go on a date if it was arranged by friend or parent? So if it's arranged by a friend, okay, put a 1 in the chat. If it's arranged by a parent and you're okay with it, put a 2 in the chat. Just while y'all are doing 1 if you're okay with a friend arranging, 2 if you agree with parents, and put 1 and 2 if you agree with either one arranging dates for you, whether it's a blind date or someone you may know. Y'all, my mother arranged my prom date with someone I could not stand. Oh, couldn't stand when we were kids till we were grown. Couldn't stand, can't stand, don't stand to this day. So my prom pictures are with someone cannot stand. Cannot stand. So I'm like, really, mother? Because I already had my date already situated. She's like, no, you're going with my friend's son. And it's all arranged. He's got his suit because we already got your dress. And I was like, daggone it. Okay. But you know what I did? I arrived and we went separate ways because it's like, I don't have to suffer you all night. So please understand, we will arrive, we will take pictures, and I don't need to see you until the ride home. Ari said she's okay. She's okay with a friend. Debbie says a friend or family. Unfiltered doll reaction says 0. None of y'all can arrange dates for me. I did. We had 2 children and we're together 17 years. Just Rhonda. Yay for the arrangement. Was that friends or was that family? Ari's like, not the 0. 1 and 2, my father knew what I liked. There's a difference. Your father knew what you liked and he knew what he would present in front of you. Okay? He knew what he would present in front of you. Ooh, but yeah, I couldn't stand the fact, I couldn't stand that. Oh, K Sharp said 3 for neither. So while Unfiltered Doll put 0, K Sharp said neither. 1 or 2, as long as you have good people with good sense and judgment, you should be all right. Is the good sense and judgment? Because as I tell you, my mom arranged my prom date. I would not want her arranging who I'm married. Not at all. Friends. Okay, just Rhonda said friends arranged a date and they are together, had kids, and it's 17 years. 17 years. So some of y'all have good friends. Some of y'all have good friends who know exactly what and who you need in your life. I don't think I've ever I don't try to set up friends because as I said, the person who they are to me may not be who they are in a relationship. They may be a jerk in a relationship, but a great friend, if y'all know what I mean. So I don't like to set up people. You know, I'll give my critique on some things, but to set up, not at all. And if your friends set do the friends set people up with people they've dated before? Because for me, if you dated my friend, you are done. You are not even considered for the team. If you dated a friend of mine or a family member and I'm aware of you, or even if I find out, no, no. Oh, Rhonda said we were together. He's an ex now, but it lasted for 17 wonderful years. I mean, hey, some people don't even get one good year out of it. So, you know, the friends at the time knew what you needed at the time for 17 years at least. So for me, if you dated a friend or family member or anybody I know, you are not it. You are not it. I am not even considering you for conversations. Is that the same for you? Is that the same for you? Because you are persona non grata. You are an unwelcome person around me. There's no way I'm dating someone that my friend has dated at all or a family member. So again, what do you think? Would you date someone who was dating a friend or family member? And by dating, it could be as casual as they went out on 1 date, 2 dates. It's worse if they got kids together. That definitely ain't happening. But again, I just don't like it. I just don't like, because I feel like you're trying to gather up, you know, notches on the belt, notches on the bed. I think you're just trying to gather, and then you're going to start comparing and contrasting. I just don't want to be considered a part of your roster. I need to not know anyone else in your roster or anyone else close to me in your roster. That's just my sentiment. I don't know what y'all think, because we started talking about dating. Do you like it in the past or not? And now we're moving the conversation. Debbie said it's a no for me. It's a no for me. Yeah, I wouldn't date. I just don't understand. I just don't understand how people lose friendships because of people, you know, that maybe have dated a friend. You could be your soulmate. Then if it's my soulmate, then their soul would not have resonated with someone close to me. No, sorry, Trey. I understand. They're gonna have to miss me. I'll have to find another soul. Definitely not. Unfortunately, some of my family and friends do not feel the same way. Girl, there have been people, I don't want to say passed around, but people have made the rounds in the family unit, and I just look sideways. I just look sideways. And it's always odd because we had um I have uncles who are brothers who dated twin sisters. Okay? Keep track. I have 2 uncles, they are not twins. Uncles, they're brothers, and they dated twin sisters. When it got to high school prom, they switched twin sisters. Now the sisters are identical, but the personalities are different. They look identical, but personality wise, they switched sisters based, I guess, on personality. And they married, and they're still married to those sisters that they switched to now. And they are in their 60s or 70s right now. And they married and stayed together. And I have cousins, and they always tell that story of, you know, Daddy used to date Auntie at first, and I was like, no, that's a little too much. That's a little too much. In the past, I dated a roommate. Recent date, it was messy. I ended up marrying him. Are you still married to him? Or did he become an ex like Just Rhonda 01 said? In the past, I dated roommates. Recent date. Now, how recent is recent? You know, we like numbers around here, High Vibe. Did she date him once, twice? Did she date him for, a couple months? Or is it that how recent was recent? Did you let the dust settle? Or did you, when they broke up and you heard them yelling and screaming, it's over? Did you check for him at the mailbox while he was walking out? How recent is recent? There could be your soulmate, but it's usually best not to go there. Keep it moving. Yes, keep it moving. Well, just like the song from Dreamgirls. Keep it moving. Y'all, are there any other questions for this unscripted session? Because I'll just go and keep on going about dating and throwing out questions about dating. One of my best friends has been married to a man I was dating for decades. It has been a disastrous marriage for them. Thank the Lord she ended up with him. Well, she took him off your hands, so maybe that was a good thing. But it's bad for her. Nope, we have been divorced. No dust settled. Like weeks. We're still roommates. Okay. So y'all solidified the friendship, the roommate-ship. Is that a word? The roommate-ship? And so, okay. So y'all are still roommates. So you and the roommate are still friends, yet you married the guy and divorced. Okay, that's a little different. I would love to know how y'all came back around to being roommates again. How did that forgiveness episode happen? How did that turn of the wheel happen? Because if you married someone I dated, then how do we get back to being roommates? It's going to be an interesting story. Absolutely interesting story. Now, I will not set up my children. I refuse to do that. My children are very eclectic. They're very different people. They need to find someone on their own. Now, I will give critique. I will give a critique. Okay? Okay? Everything is situational. Depends on risk versus reward. Add individual. You must weigh that calculation. Yep, it is a calculation. No, we aren't still roommates or friends. It was way back in college. Okay, way back in college. There's a certain rotation to college. There's a certain rotation of people in college. Some people date a few people and some people don't date in college. Some people break up right before going to college, so they're free to date. And I think I'll have some of those for the next unsolicited advice, which is on Sunday at noon. I think I'll have a few of those, spinning the block, folks. Can we get back together? We're on a break. What's the rules for a break? That's where it get dicey. I don't do the in and out. I don't do the we are, on and off again, on again, off again. I don't do that. I don't know how people do that. How do people do on again, off again? Because there's a reason we were off. And I understand some people believe in forgiveness. I understand that. But for me, I only go back for seconds for food on a plate. Happy Friday, Felicia H. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here with us on Friday. Ari says, I can say right now, leave me alone if either of us breaks up with the other. Right, I can't do on again, off again. I don't understand it. I really don't. It just irks my nerves. I don't want to go back and you make the same mistake. Yes, you've learned. Yes, you're going to be a changed person. Now go change for somebody else. Go be that better person for somebody else. Now, there are people who, give someone a second chance and they end up having a wonderful relationship. And I'm happy for them. That ain't me. One of my best friends had 2 children by one of my exes. I'm truly grateful it wasn't me. Her relationship was a nightmare. It's what she deserved for taking leftovers. Oops, sloppy seconds. Oops, sloppy seconds. So let me unpack that. She had 2 kids by one of your exes. To go to Africa, I'm sensing a trend of when your ex goes on to your friends. It's like you've discarded them, but your friends haven't learned about the discarding means they don't pick up the trash, okay? That was an exception, not the rule. I understand it ain't the rule, but for me, mm-mm, mm-mm, don't come back. Don't come back. This is not a revolving door. This door does not swing back and forth. This door just goes and says, closed, locked. It will lock on your way out because there's no re-entry. How about that? There's no re-entry. So y'all, any other things you want to talk about unscripted, just feel free to put it in the chat and we will just move it along. We're talking about dating. We're talking about if your ex and your friends get together, would you date a friend's ex? We don't know. I did an on and off as a teenager. We knew each other since we were 7 years old. After I turned 22, I stopped that mindset. You sounded like Clavassier from Never Ever Met, Trey. Did they jump in your arms at 22 when they greeted you and your girl was around? I'm just kidding. So that's hard. See, that's hard for me because my friends that I've known from Pampers to now, I don't see them as boyfriend material, and it could be because I know all their dirt. All their dirt. I mean, and the girlfriends they have looked at me sideways because I'm the lady friend, and I should have their back and tell them when my friend that I've known since Pampers, I mean, heck, one of my friends, our parents were friends and they were pregnant together. So that's my road dog from the womb. So there's no way I'm going to pick, girl code over my boy. That's my boy. I'm sorry. Mm-mm. And maybe I'm wrong, and y'all can certainly tell me in the chat. Yep, they are discarded for a reason. They are. They are. To go to Africa. Stop leaving the meat on the bone. To go to Africa, K-Sharp is saying you are the reason. You are leaving meat on the bone for your friends that want to eat. Don't leave that meat on the bone for them to get it. That's why they get in trouble. That was a good one, K-Sharp. ElCid Clay is special. Ooh, is definitely is special. Noel said nothing close to that. We didn't pretend to be best friends. Right. I don't know. I don't know dating friends. I don't know that. I don't know that. That ain't in my Bible. I'm sorry. There wasn't much meat and substance there. That's why they were trash. So there was no meat. But maybe there was some that they saw. Maybe there was, I don't know, cartilage, gristle. I don't know. I don't know what to call it. But there's something there that your friends are like, I want to know what she has experienced. Maybe it's just their curiosity. And they should go find something else. And they could just be lazy. They don't want to go out there and find someone, on their own. Maybe they were listening, I don't know, to go to Africa. Maybe your friends were listening and watching how he treated you and thought they would like that kind of treatment. And they went after the dude after y'all were done. Like, oh, I'd like to be her. Oh, I was a little jealous of their relationship. Maybe he could do the same for me and we'll have a successful relationship. Now, Ari, you're taking us down that road. They love sucking on the gristle and the bone marrow. Hey, are we going to talk about bone marrow? We're going to talk about baby gravy? What are we talking about? See, Ari, you're getting suggestive. You're getting into unscripted after dark. So whether or not you thought of it to go to Africa, your friends found something that they wanted to chew on with those fellas. Okay? Just Rhonda said that's not your friend. That's not your friend. Well, it's ex-friend and ex-boyfriend. So they're all gone away. But yes, that's not your friend. But it seemed to be a repeat cycle. Because you talked about one having kids and then one going off to marry. It seems to be a cycle that, your friend like your leftovers. Like they're just waiting in the wings for you to just toss them out. For them to just pick them up and dust them off and keep on going. I just don't understand. The sad thing is they are gorgeous women who I admired. Yeah. Sorry, y'all. I'm just cutting up a little bit in here. I'm ready for the weekend. Girl, you can cut up with us. We will go down that lane with you, and I know how to keep it kosher for YouTube. So we can totally go down that lane if you want to. This is unscripted, okay? It's wherever y'all wish to go. It's always the gorgeous ladies, sometimes, not all, sometimes, that are quite insecure. I find that it's like gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, but it's something about them with relationships and certain gentlemen that they have, that it screams insecurity. I'm like, what are you insecure about? You are gorgeous. You're beautiful. You're educated. Why are you doubting yourself? I just never understood that. It's like I can see who you are, but you can't see yourself. It's like sometimes you wish, like, if you all see any Netflix show called Black Mirror, where you can, people can see what you see. It's like, I wish you could see you through my eyes so you can see how much of a wonderful person, or as I say, how high up on the marketplace you are. Because I had a young lady I worked with, I was like, you do not understand your market value. You don't understand where you fit in the marketplace. You are young, gorgeous, no children, got your own condo, got your own stuff, got your own car. You don't understand where you are in the marketplace. You should not be dealing with folks who are not at least on that level. She just dated folks that it was a date with her was a handout. And I was like, girl, you've got to elevate. I never understood that. I just never understood it. And she used to, I think oh no, she was an athlete. That one was an athlete. I just didn't understand why they didn't see how wonderful they were, and that they shouldn't be, you know, I don't want to say below their level, but below their market value. Definitely. But no, y'all, please put it in chat what you wish to talk about. This is unscripted. There's nothing planned by me. We're just going along. We started off with a post. Under the post started off about dating. Would you rather date how it was in the past or how it was now with dating apps? In the past, we could at least write a number on a napkin and pass it to somebody, under their glass. Now the dating apps. Now it's Instagram. Now it's a DM. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Sorry I can't get through. Why don't you leave your name and your number and I'll get back to you. If y'all know the song, y'all would know the lyrics. But yeah, I'm not sure what is going on right now in the dating aspect of it, because it used to be dating apps, but I see people are meeting and contacting each other through Instagram. They're contacting each other through Facebook or even TikTok, sending messages. And it's like, now it's changed. Now the dating platforms, some of them, not all of them, are just for hooking up, just for a temporary scratching of an itch. And it seems like that's what's going on. And I'm like, when did Instagram become like a dating place? Or when did Facebook become a place where people start to date and look at and for each other? See, I don't want you in my Facebook. You don't know, you shouldn't know my Facebook, because my Facebook has my family, my friends. It has my real life. It is not ElCid. It is ElCid's family and everyday life. I don't want anybody trying to see and No. Somebody there knows what my kids look like, know what everybody in my family looks like. I'd rather not. Because if I gotta disappear, if I gotta ghost you, I don't need you knowing who my relatives are so you can reach out to them to ask what's going on with me. Because first of all, my relatives are wild. The first thing they would do is curse you out. The next thing they will do is curse me out for bringing you into the group chat, and they want no parts of it. So again, I can't see doing that on Facebook with your real identity at all of your business out there. Like Instagram, you could post your food, you could post you. Everybody isn't putting all that stuff on Instagram at all. A 60-plus-year-old woman said she met a man on TikTok. Their first date was on a cruise. I was shocked. I'm shocked too. My thing is, I would only expect your first date on a cruise if both of you realize y'all had a cruise planned, or maybe y'all are like, one is on the cruise and one is like, yeah, let me go too and we can meet up and have a date. I was planning a cruise anyway. But I wouldn't feel comfortable with him paying for a cruise and then what? We sharing a cabin? Please tell me they didn't share a cabin, K-Sharp, because that's a little too quick. That's a little too quick. She met a man on TikTok. Their first date was on a cruise. Unless they were both on the cruise and they met and they went out on a date. Many people are still doing family reunions and stuff on cruises. That I can see. But please tell me, K Sharp, did he pay for the cruise to take her out on a date, or were they just on the cruise? Because would it be considered a date? I've gone on a cruise and gone out to dinner with someone on the cruise, but we already paid for the meal, so uh, 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 meals are included. So is it really a date? It's date adjacent. I'm not going to take it away that it's a time where you can meet up and talk to each other and learn about each other. But please tell me they were already on the cruise and they went on a date. Please tell me he did not buy a cruise for them. Dang, not straight out cuss it. Yes, my family. Ooh, my aunts have colorful language. Okay, they are wonderful. They are like the Golden Girls. And I have uncles as well who are the golden gentlemen. Okay, um, I have an aunt that was straight. If I have an aunt, if I called her right now, the first thing she would do is hello. You bleepity bleepity bleep. Why is it taking you 3 to 4 months to call me? You bleepity bleep. That is her natural way of speaking. That is her natural way of speaking. First, she cuts you out for not calling her for a long time. Now you're taking up air. What do you want? And then it'll be like, oh well, how are the babies doing? It will be, let me let this out on you, and then let's talk about the family. That that is my aunt, and that's why it's like, dang, I hadn't called her in a while. You got to brace yourself. You got to brace yourself because she's gonna go for the jugular. That's why when you were a baby, da 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 da. It's like you got to brace yourself because she's going for the jugular. Yeah, sharing a room. I was like, safety issues here. I don't know who paid for it. No, no, no. You cannot pay for a cruise. No, 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 no. I will not be going on a cruise, traveling with you for a first date. Not happening. How do I escape you? What if I don't like you? How long is this cruise? Because I usually cruise for 7 to 10 days. I can't be on a boat trapped with you. What if I don't want a room with you? Oh my word, how do I get another room? Oh no. Well, I understand that. Like, why did it take you so long to call me back? No, it's not a call back, it's just a call. Like, she's at an age, okay, this is my auntie. She's at an age where the young people need to initiate the calls. We need to call her. She is kind of like the matriarch. We need to call her and check on her because she's like, I'm old enough that anything can happen to me. Y'all need to call me. She's not going to call to interrupt our life. That's what she says. Okay, okay, but not a call back. It's like we need to check up on her. Are they treated to the bone? If so, I can believe they are colorful. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. To the bone marrow, all the gristle, all the meat, everything, everything. Now, some of them don't go back to Trinidad for carnival or anything like that, but they are. They are to the bone, really to the bone. So yes, they are colorful. The language, the accent. Now, I do have a very conservative auntie. She won't curse you out, but she will dress you down very politely. And you'll wonder, auntie, are you complimenting me or was that shade? The slight, you want to laugh, but you're like, am I laughing with or are you laughing at me? Wait a minute. And she would just sit there and give you no clue as to which way it went. No clue as to which way it went. But you gotta love them. Gotta love them. Because I have one that she travels on her own, same thing cruise. She would be on her own on a cruise, and all of a sudden we see photos. She's somewhere in the world. Where in the world is Auntie? Everybody would be like, did anybody know? Did her children didn't even know she's going on a cruise by herself or traveling to some unknown place? We could wake up tomorrow and find she posted pictures in Croatia. And we're like, Auntie, does anybody know where you went? She's like, why? Why are you in my business? I'm retired. But no, definitely with this whole dating, where we started was dating. Do you like it then or do you like it now with the apps? There's so many ways to hide, and I guess that's me and the dark side or the playing or playful side coming out, where I prefer the apps because you could just delete a profile and just turn up someplace else. It'll be different pictures. You could change the name and just block people that you don't want to talk to. and they won't have your real phone number. They could contact you through an app. So let me ask, for those of you, since we are in the present time, how long should it take you to meet up with someone if you connect through text messages on the app? How long would it take you to meet them, or how short of a time do you take to meet in person? For me, when I dated on apps, I needed to meet you within a week because I need to know if I'm wasting my time. I need to know real quick if I'm wasting my time. Because for me, it's like, okay, I'm talking to you. We're talking on the phone. We're sending text messages. You all know when it's in the early stages. You know, what do you like to do? Where have you been on vacation? Da 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 da. You're talking all kinds of stuff. And y'all are connecting and y'all are clicking and everything is going great. So how long till you're like, we need to meet face to face? You know, this is also the premise of a show called Never Ever Met on OWN, where some people go 4 years without meeting each other. Some people go 8 months, 5 months, but they live in different demographics. Someone can live in Texas while the other in California. One can live in Atlanta while the other person in Chicago. So we could see why. Now for long distance, I can see it taking a little while, but for long distance, I'll give it about a month. But if we're in the same town or we're within a 2-hour drive, how long should it take? For me, it's within a week. It's within a week. Definitely for me, it's within a week. It is definitely within a week for me. So again, I'm looking at how long before you meet the person you've been texting all this time. How long should it take? Sorry, my son was just calling and texting me because he wants his graduation photos. I'm like, child, you don't need the photos right now. You do not need your graduation photos right now, this minute. I agree with you. If they are serious about a relationship, it's easier to get a reasonably good idea about their intentions. Yes, if they are serious. So, and even if it's not about a relationship, even if it's just a pass by, how quickly? Jackson Tabasco says he wants to post them photos. Yes, he wants to post them photos. So y'all, okay, bear with me. But yeah, let me go back to go to Africa. Yeah, if they're serious, it's easier to meet quickly, to test if y'all have chemistry, to test if y'all really want to take it to another level. Okay, that's totally agreeable. So yes, he won them photos. So listen to this. I have a graduating high schooler and a graduating college. Okay, that was the college one. We live in an area where there are like rapids, not really bad rapids, but rapids where there's a rush of water and it really looks beautiful. And he said, hey mom, let's go take our graduation pictures there. So it took both of them and I took the pictures after create a collage and send out the cards to the family. And it came out really beautiful. It came out really, really nice. But now it's like as Jackson Tabasco said, he want to post some photos. But where he was, the sun is hitting. I got to do some photo editing. I'm like, dude, I haven't even downloaded it to my Google Drive yet. But he's like, send me them photos, please. You know, he probably also, want his girl to see them photos, but don't tell him I said so. The question is only valid if you're dating through apps. Seriously, most people don't. They're using them for potential hookups, and I understand that. When I was wayward, at one time when I was wayward, I tried that strategy too with Mr. ElCid, and he said, "Sit down. No. This is not going to be a drive-by. This is going to be a relationship that leads to marriage." And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll give you a chance. One chance. Don't screw it up. And guess what? In a few months, it'll be 8 years. 8 years of marriage. Congratulations, he's telling you. Thank you so much, K Sharp. Thank you. To go to Africa. You must be exhausted from everything you have to do to prepare for both graduations. Actually not for both graduations, because my college child, decided, like me, for my master's, I did not go to the graduation. My college child is like, no, mom, we could take pictures. I'll have my cap and gown, but I'm not. I'm not at all going to go to my graduation. They can mail me my certificate. That's me. So that is my child. My youngest wanted the same thing, but I'm like, at least if he's going to trade school, he's not going to college. I said, at least let me get photos and let's do a ceremony for graduating from high school. Since you're not going to do college, you're going to do trade school. There probably will be a graduation, but I just don't know trade school graduations. I just don't know. So I was like, could we at least do it? Y'all, why is it last night the graduating class is over 450 students? So while my high schooler is in the honor section, he was in the first group of students. We had to sit there. He was in the second row. We had to sit there to listen to the 20 other rows of students. And I was like, wow. 400 and something students. So no, not exactly. We did not do prom. Neither one of them, either one in high school, they didn't want to do prom. They just want to hang out with their friends. So us parents gave them money to cater, get food or whatever, and hang out with their friends. No prom, so we didn't have to do all of that. So my children are very no frills like me, very low key like me. Didn't need a whole lot. Heck, my high schooler would have had them mail the diploma if he could have gotten away with it. But what I had was the high schooler had to finally get his driver's license. That was the whole thing. Whew, that was the a lot. But no, we really didn't have much to do. Just steam the graduation cap and gowns, go take pictures right before the ceremony. Beautiful day it was, and then just go and hang out at graduation. We didn't get home till close to 11 o'clock at night, and graduation started at 8 p.m. Would you ever have Mr. ElCid as a special guest if he ever was willing? Some days he's willing and some days he's not. Some days there are topics that he is like, I got something to say, woman. And some days, then I'll be like, well, let's go talk about it. Let's go on camera. He's like, no, not happening. No. I'm like, dang, you have so much to say now. Come on, camera. People want to meet you. They want to meet the person who can deal with me. And he's like, no, not at all. Thank you for the congratulations, Debbie. Samantha, glad to have you here. So mad you're late. You're never late to the unscripted. Okay, we were talking about dating. You know, do you like it back then? Do you like it with dating apps now? Or then we turned into my son was calling me for. He wants his graduation cap and gown photos that we took yesterday. He wants me to send them now. And I'm like, I'm live, dude. I'm live. You got to wait. Got to hold your horses. That's why Mr. ElCid is Timothy. Sit down, woman. Let me love you. I mean, there was nothing wrong with letting him love me. Nothing wrong with that. That was never an issue. But it's whether I wanted to be, high tied to one person. If you catch my drift. I was divorced. I was still coming off the wonderful high of being single again after divorce. It's like, woohoo! Yes, but I still had 2 young children to take care of. But woohoo! Here he come messing up the program. I mean, I had 2 good years of dating. But 2 good years of dating before I met Mr. ElCid. And I had, the story is he hit me up during the holidays. Hey, could we talk? And I was like, yeah, after the holidays. Put it on pause. Okay? Put it on pause for the holidays. And I'll, contact me after January. Because I was on real bad time that I would break up with someone right before Thanksgiving and Christmas because I did not want you to have the unrealistic expectation you were meeting my family and unrealistic expectation I was meeting yours, or the unrealistic expectation I was getting you a gift or even expecting one. So it'd be like maybe around Indigenous Peoples Day, about October, about Halloween, I start to backpedal and be done. So that the holidays, I'm free and clear, no obligations, nobody obligated to me, and be, doing what I want to do. And then get back with somebody like after February. Because again, I ain't doing Valentine's Day because whatever. So after February, So start looking around at spring for a summer romance to the fall, and then we start the rotation all over again. That was my dating. That was my dating, cycle. Yay, Sam's here. Oh, God bless his son. Congratulations to him and his success's parents. Yes, we are so happy. We have a college graduate and we have a high school graduate. But yeah, they are no frills. They are no frills, my children. They're like me. It's like, oh, we don't wear a lot of the things we don't wear labels, as I tell you. It's just, we may be considered, just regular schmegular. That would be probably entertaining. Yeah, Ari is like, start a fund to get Mr. ElCid on the live. Well, to get there, to be able to start a fund, we need, to monetize the channel. So we would need the channel to have, more subscribers. So make sure you have liked this live. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel for it to grow. So maybe I would suggest that to Mr. ElCid. That is a great thought. Okay, great thought. Ari and Samantha co-signing that or to go to Africa. Maybe once we get monetized, the first thing would be my first guest would be Mr. ElCid, and that he will have to come then. He will have to. Mr. ElCid said, if I'm pausing you, I'm stopping you. That's something you don't want to do. Mr. ElCid, my role model. I will let him see this train if he ain't already downstairs watching this, in the room downstairs. I'm glad he is your role model, Trey. I'm glad he is your role model because there has to be something, and maybe I will share with you, how we truly came to be our first date, and maybe why I agreed to stop and actually marry and actually take him seriously. I mean, that is an interesting story, and people talk about signs and all of that, and if I really was a sign person, I Mr. ElCid and I wouldn't have gone very far because he is only 4 days older than my ex-husband. Same year, same month, 4 days apart. If I was someone to say, oh my God, never again with that sign, I would have missed out. If Mr. ElCid is watching, now come on live, friend. We don't bite, I promise. Y'all may not bite. Y'all can't promise if I won't bite. If Mr. ElCid could just do a pop in, we would love it. Would you be like George and Wheezy? I'm dating myself. No, I mean, I wasn't just, I wouldn't date myself. Well, maybe I have. I did a whole bunch of stuff when I was, between marriages, between dating folks. I would go out and be a tourist in my own city. I would go out and just look around. What is there to do? Check and see, the weekend calendar, what things are going on. Technically, right now, this is why I usually do my lives at this time. Mr. ElCid is usually playing basketball. You know how they say doing ratchet things, with my friends. He's usually doing basketball things with his friends. And so that's why I would do the lives at this time because I know he's out having fun with his friends and it's not encroaching on our time together. So that's why I would do my lives at about 4:05 or 5:05. He's going. Yeah. Not we biting like sinners around here. Now hold on. We are not. That's what he said. We are not biting like sinners. I know George and Wheezy are. I know who George and Wheezy are. Samantha, yes, we do know. And if you all know George and Wheezy Jefferson, my maternal, my mother's father, looked like a dark skinned version of George Jefferson. Totally. Like if you gave him a dark chocolate complexion, that was my grandfather. He had the hair though. He had hair. But he was a dark complexion of Mr. Jefferson. So every time people would say George and Wheezy and stuff, that's oh gosh, something I forgot his name. Sherman? I forgot his name, but that is exactly who my grandfather looks like. Just a darker version. Oh my gosh, y'all are taking me down memory lane. George Jefferson. played by Sherman Helmsley. I couldn't remember if it was Sherman at first name or last name. Sherman Helmsley. Did he behave like him? Um, some some things, but not everything. He wasn't out front. My grandmother was out front. He was more the quiet, and he said very little, but when he talked, it was powerful. When he talked, it was something you had to listen to because he was not going to waste or mince words. So I'm a variation of him in my everyday life. Like I talk to you guys because again, it's camera. I have to talk. I have to interact. But if we ever met, I'll probably be more quiet and observant first to see what I should say, why I should say it, and whether you would listen or not if I was in person. Can't wait to hear your love story, ElCid, if you share it with us. I know, and the reason why I'm hesitant to share is because I always love the interactions between a couple where one person's version is different than the other person, and you watch to see who's talking more or what changes they make in the story. So that's why I would like keep it and not do it. As I said, if the channel becomes monetized, I will definitely tell him, hey, we have 500 subscribers. I promised them you would come on air, and he gonna look at me sideways. But even if it's one time, and even if it's one time live, and I put it and hide it for members only, then I'll definitely convince and drag him on camera. He had his dance move not as good as a Trini. So, well, it's a dance move you're asking about for my grandfather. Now, dance moves, yes, my grandfather went even further. He was a choreographer. He was a choreographer. So my grandfather, this same grandfather, he was short like George Jefferson. My grandmother, though, was 5'9". If you ever saw their wedding photo, he is looking up at her. And he looks like a very well dressed, schoolboy looking up at her. He was also a designer and tailor, so he made my grandmother's wedding dress. It was a mini wedding dress that was like double-breasted sailor and long sleeves, but it was a mini skirt dress. Oh, she was a flaming hot bride, and he made her headdress. And I said, oh, if I ever get married, I wanted that headdress, but it never made the move. And it didn't stay. It didn't hold its shape properly. So yes, my grandfather was a choreographer. He was a musician. He especially was lethal on African drums. He used to, as I said, tailor everything you could think of. He would make, we said train to the bone. He would make costumes. He would make costumes for the carnival and have a section he would have to produce, and we would all be all hands on deck. So I know that part of life too. Performers would come and he would make their show costumes for stage. So I have a very good girlfriend. Her father's costume for stage for performance, my grandfather made. It was a huge cape coat thing, and it was bejeweled like if he was the king of something. And even the headdress was like, a real crown. And she and I met each other in high school, and she remembered, by that time my grandfather had passed, she remembered that her dad still had that cape and regalia for his show. And it's so funny that we're still friends to this day. So it's really odd. I can see all the side eye looks now. Yes. Yes. We would both, Trey, when telling our story, we will both be looking at each other side eye. And he'd probably let me talk, and then he'd interject. He'd let me be the baseline, and then he interject and say, "That's not how I remember it. I don't recall that. I don't think." Or if something really outlandish, he'll just look at me and not say anything, and I'll know the look, and I'll just block it. I'll just block the looks. Granddad, you better do it. Yep, that's my maternal grandfather. My mother was in pageants. He even made her gowns and her everything for her pageants. So all of her gowns, everything you saw, and my grandmother did her hair. It was truly a pageant family. Maybe you, Mr. Elsa, can show us your moves when he comes on. No, Mr. Elsa does not dance. Does not dance. Left feet galore. No, 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 no. No, no, no. I wouldn't do that to him. Okay? Mm-mm. 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 Now, for our family, because my grandfather was a choreographer and everything, and my uncles too love to dance. Again, if you know, you know my family is from Trinidad. Dancing is part of it, but we learned formal dancing. So you had to learn how to waltz. Are you kidding me? Y'all don't understand the waltz, the foxtrot, two step. You had to learn formal dancing. Now we didn't learn Latin cha 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 and all that other stuff, but we did learn, and you had to know how to waltz properly. Now I have an uncle. There was an uncle and my mother, and they would waltz together, and they would look exactly like professional dancers. Of course, that's my humble opinion. That's my uncle and that's my mother. You know, they would be looking away from each other, and their faces are serious, and they will be spinning, looking beautiful on that floor. But we had to learn how to formally dance. And then too, I did say I go to Catholic school. They also teach you how to dance formally. So my family was ahead of the game. My story would be funny. ElCid would be part of it. Lord have mercy. Pray for me, chat. Yes, Trey, your story would be funny. So you need to get your channel up and together. You need to get your stuff together because your story would definitely be funny, and I would not mind if after I do Mr. ElCid and my chat and story, then maybe I can host you and your lovely young lady and get y'all story because I have questions. I have questions. And since I'm a part of watching that love blossom, okay? Since I'm a part of watching that love blossom, I have some stories. I have questions about stories, but I will keep it cute, keep it classy. I know it's for the internet, and I wouldn't get any further than y'all allow. And if you want to know my questions ahead of time, please understand that I'll stick in 2 or 3 of them that you ain't gonna know. But it will be cute and classy. I said, have you been to a carnival? Yes, I have. Again, Trinidad, yes. But I'm not a carnival baby. I'm not a carnival child. I'll go to concerts. You would catch me at a lawn concert, an outdoor concert, anytime, you indoor concert. But I'm not a carnival, babe. Even when I was in Trinidad, it was not my thing. I would actually disappear on Carnival Monday, Tuesday, and all the other days. I would disappear and go by my friends who lived out of town. I would go to their house. We'd be playing video games. We'd be hanging out, and we would just not be involved in the loud music, the loud everything. I did one year where we did everything with my friends, and we were like, why? Why? We were not, we didn't feel like we were missing out. Now my mother goes every year. My mother goes every year. She goes to multiple carnivals. She travels for carnival around. I used to go to Boston's carnival. I went to the tail end of Caribana, I think. I can't remember. But of course, Brooklyn's carnival. I would take the train and get the heck up out of Brooklyn. Okay? Get the heck up out of Brooklyn. Yes, Trey Mac, where's your channel? See, Trey Mac. It's probably likes to whine in private. Yeah, well, there's dancing, and there's vertical dancing, and there's horizontal dancing. So we gotta specify what kind of dancing we do. I feel the doll reaction. You saying goals? You mean going to carnival? Going to carnival all over? Is that the goal? You could, have at it. I just, it's too many crowds, too many people. I'd rather go to concerts and sporting events. You know what I wanted to do when I was younger is I wanted to find, your favorite artists. I wanted to be able to travel to all of their concert locations. Now I did it, I did go to 2 locations only for like Prince. Like I knew Prince concert was going to be different in different places. So when he went to Madison Square Garden, it was different. And if going when I went to Jersey, it was different. because one he had Morris Day and time and one he did not. Going to a carnival, I've never been. Okay, if you're going to a carnival, here's the thing. Proper shoes, proper footwear. You will be on your feet. Okay? You'll be on your feet. If you're not on your feet, just looking and sightseeing, you're going to be walking. If you're participating, you're going to be walking the entire route. The carnival route is the route you are dancing in your costume. There's drinks, there's water. That you better take yourself a fan, an electronic fan, especially those around your neck, or a misting fan, because most carnivals is during the hot time of year. Most of them, not all of them. So footwear, and make sure you have a fan and a misty fan. Please make sure, because you are walking a route. Many of the routes are miles. And the thing is, the music and the constant dancing, you won't even realize that you just walked a half a marathon dancing, whining, jamming, and having a good time. You won't even realize until the end. And you're like, dang, that's what we did? That's where we came from? Because the one in Trinidad is miles. Some of them is like 10 miles. If you're partying all day, the music is just moving slowly through town 4 miles. So the shoes and your mist to keep you cool. And if they don't have a hat, something a visor to give you some shade, a towel, you're going to be sweating, a cool towel. You need that. Your fanny pack to keep everything in your fanny pack. Please. If you need to know if we need to do a tutorial on what you need, I'll get all the stuff together and get all the people telling you what you need for carnival. I ain't going to specify to go to Africa. That'll have to be with Mr. ElCid. Yes, my retirement dream will be to follow my favorite jazz artists from state to state or cruise to cruise. Now that I totally can see that, Samantha. I would totally be down with that. Unfiltered Doll, I have it on my vision board. Okay, y'all have a carnival. Now, y'all know Miami Carnival is usually October. So just find where you are locally. Find your local West Indian committee or your West Indian group. There's a carnival close to you. I'm sure. There's one in D.C. There's one in Maryland. There's, I know Virginia has one. Everywhere. Atlanta has one. There is a carnival around. But if you go to the Caribbean, every carnival is different. Like Brazil, South America is more spectator. But if you want to be part of the festivities, get a costume and do, walk around partying with them, because many of them, they provide food, they provide drinks as part of your package with your costume. It is something to experience. Sounds like Disney. I'm a pro at that. Yep. My channel is semi non-existent. I originally wanted to my trucking experiences. I took vids. I never posted on YouTube, or maybe a food channel. I'm still thinking about it. Yes, if y'all follow Trey Mack on Instagram, he has a lot of pictures of the food he eats. It's really, really, something, because you're like, dang, I can't have none of that. That's my only thing. It's like I'm watching the food and like, that look good. Fax me a plate. Can you fax me a plate, Trey? Yes, sounds like a great time. Yes, Unfiltered Doll. You get dressed up, and Unfiltered Doll reactions, y'all. If you go to her channel, you see she has a very bold, awesome fashion sense that I don't have. But you, in your costume and regalia and your bejeweled and your feathers and plumes and all of that stuff, you would absolutely have a great time. I would love that at Samantha. I'm not sure. Retirement dream. Yep. With the Jazz Festival. Yep. Well, we may have to know where Samantha's going. Who's she following? Don't go if you're not in shape. Now, in shape has different connotations, because we gonna see people out there that don't look like they're in shape. Now, that's because the costume, the bands that walk carnival, it's at a slow pace. It's at a good pace for you to dance, for you to have your little two-step, and for you to be walking behind the music truck. Okay? You can stop and have a drink or whatever, but you will be walking and on your feet for a while. So what people usually do is they usually would make sure they could walk their treadmill, and make sure they can walk, their local like YMCA fuzz run, their little 5K, which is about 3 miles. Make sure you're equipped for that. Even if it's at a slow pace, make sure you can finish that before you attempt to go. And if you look at it, if you look online at a local one, like let's say you look at Miami Carnival, see how long is the route? How long are they walking and dancing? How far are they doing it? And see if you could walk that. And if you think you cannot, then it's not going to be for you. But if you can, try and go as a spectator so you can kind of get a scope of, okay. Because I'm telling you, sometimes you got to buy your costumes a year in advance. I got to tell you that. For Trinidad, they start opening up sections all now for next year. There's some places where they are launching their costumes and they have a full, regalia and reveal of what they're doing for next year Carnival. Carnival for them is always, the Monday and then Fat Tuesday, what would be in New Orleans. So you will have to have your deposits in if you're going to Trinidad. That is one of the biggest ones. I don't advise you to start there. But if you're going there, you got to look in August to look around and see what the bands are and put a deposit down. Now, here's one thing I found out. I found out that there is to blend all of this, because Trinidad doesn't have a whole lot of hotels downtown. They're still under construction. There's a cruise. There's a cruise that goes from Puerto Rico and goes and docks in Trinidad for Carnival for the 3 or 4 days. So that is a way of having someplace for people to stay. So people get off the cruise, they go around, they're part of a band, they're part of a section. All of your costume and everything is included in this cruise when you go there. And of course you have your accommodation. And then you cruise back to Puerto Rico and you fly back home. Now that is incorporating everything. I would say start off going to your local one, go to Atlanta, go to Miami, go to, I would say Brooklyn, but Brooklyn always have some kind of everybody run and flee at a certain time. But I would say Boston. Boston is an absolutely amazing one. I've been there several years, and Boston is at the end of August. If we were still having great relations, I would say certainly try Carabana. That is at the end of July, if I'm not mistaken. Try those, and then try other islands. Try other islands. Like, there's always one in St. Kitts. There's always one in St. Thomas. Do that. Totally do that. All of the different meanings of shape, girl. I gotta start getting shape in 2027. High vibe. I mean, if you can walk. I mean, I didn't realize in some instances how much, I may look, I'm part of the plus size delegation, okay? I may not look like it, but when I was in New York, during the blackout, I was there for 9/11 and the blackout. During the blackout, I had to walk further than I did for 9/11. So during the blackout, I had to walk all the way. Our offices were on Wall Street. I had to walk all the way to the middle of Brooklyn. That was some miles. That took a very long time. But if you take one foot in front of the other, you will get there. So K Sharp says, I like the cruise concept. I do too. And I heard about it just recently. Someone related to a friend, they went and did the cruise and got their costumes and everything. I just didn't know how it would go. And she had a wonderful time, and it was all inclusive. So yeah, to go to Africa. Best wishes. You sure you look fabulous? Yep. Whoa, yeah, that was a long walk. Very, very long walk. I want to do a cruise one day, maybe next year. So decide what you want to do, Ari. And here's a tip, just a tip for me, because Ari is our, resident youth. I said that only because of, my cousin Vinny. What's a youth? Try and do it when kids are in school. Don't do it during the summer when everybody's out of school and everybody's dipping around and whole families are going. Or you can pay the additional funding for the adult-only cruises. I know Virgin Cruises is adults only, but I found that I liked it when it was, the kids were minimal. Then I would go during a time when kids were not around. And then start small, do 5 days. You don't have to do a whole week. Start off with 5 days. I mean, I wouldn't fly to Florida to do a 3-day cruise, but certainly 5 days is way more than enough. Way more than enough. And just have fun. Hey, I said what I said. Thank you so much. You're listening in the bushes. Y'all, please go to I Said What I Said's channel. She covers all kind of true crime, all kinds of stuff for you to really, sink your teeth into. And she has a great perspective. Politics. If you really want, this channel doesn't talk about politics. I want this channel to be where you come and just have fun, kiki, and think about everything else other than the politics and the major case out there. But I said what I said. Her channel definitely got you covered. And she gives you a good laugh too. We'll have 27 days of sick leave, so I can use that. Okay. Are we using the sick leave to go on the cruise? Are we thinking of the sick leave after the cruise? I did a house music cruise to the Bahamas from Miami. We partied like it was 1999. Yes, big fun. Big fun. Yes, definitely. I have done quite a number of cruises. It all depends on what you want, It all depends on what experiences you want. Walking to Brooklyn from Wall Street is a trek. Good grief. I'm a country boy. I'm used to walking. I don't know exactly what it is, but we're at the end of Wall Street, close to the water. So we had to walk up and around to get on the bridge. And then we crossed the Brooklyn Bridge and we had to go all the way to the other end of Eastern Parkway. If y'all know anything about New York, you know where Eastern Parkway kind of starts. So we had to walk all the way. It was a trek. I had to take my intern with me because the bus he would take to his house was right at the corner from my house. So he had to come with me. There was no other way. And we just picked up tourists along the way and walked them to the hotel. Because they didn't know it's a blackout. They didn't know. There's no street sign. When was that? No, this was 2003. 2003. Everybody saying, hey, I said what I said. Side note, what are your thoughts on advice on Remy and Pap Best? Girl, why can't we divorce quietly? Now, why can't we divorce quietly? I would have nothing to say. I would have nothing to say as the woman he's with. I would have nothing to say as his ex-wife. I would have nothing to say. I usually have nothing to say because I've heard that he's saying that he wrote her hits. I'm hearing he said that. My thing is, I would just say, okay, if you think you wrote my hits, I'll see you in court. Let's have the court decide. I wouldn't say anything about it. I'd let him just fiddle away because people cannot say anything unless you give them more fodder. But I would just stay out of it. And it's sounding messy. I hate to say that I thought it was messy. I just thought people were giving. I thought when people were giving Papoose a lot of praise for sticking by her and being there for her through her time in jail, everybody was giving him praise rather than giving her praise for coming out and rebuilding her life. And I felt like that dynamic kind of shifted. I felt it kind of shifted. He was right to stick with her. And I was like, okay, what's going to happen? Then they had a kid. And I was like, what is going on? Because she had her show for the culture with Joe Budden. And I'm like, the dynamic there, I was waiting for the balloon to pop. Let's just say it. I was waiting for the balloon to pop. Hey, Marjan, glad to have you here, Marjan. Glad you're with us today. Now, that's far Eastern Parkway. Yeah, all the way from Wall Street. See, when it was 9/11, they had boats. And I didn't have to walk the Brooklyn Bridge. So the boats took us over. But we weren't prepared for the blackout at the time. Yes, he said that. Yeah, he did say he wrote her hits. And it's okay. Give him his royalties. And it's okay. People write for other people. Papoose wrote for more than her. If you listen to what the streets are saying, Papoose wrote for a lot of people. I mean, heck, how else was the man making money for his family while she was locked up? He was writing for folks. Remy's disappointing me. She's the only one egging this on. Just stop. Shaking my head. Yeah, I feel that too. And I think it's a matter of you not only left me, but you left me and now your girl is popping off at me, or you left me for this girl. And because she knows the girl and the girl has a platform, the young lady. And I think Remy is egging it on. She knows the young lady cannot come at her because she's a boxer and her hands are considered weapons. So this young lady cannot come at Remy. And I'm thinking Remy is using that to her advantage because knowing the young lady will, could potentially lose her contracts and everything if she comes out and does anything, that isn't, a sanctioned fight. I mean, Remy, if you bought that life, then go train. I wouldn't advise it. I would not advise it at all. But go train if you got that. I missed the 9/11 part. Makes sense. I was living in Jersey, was in Manhattan that day. We were in a car though. Yeah, we were in the office. Now, those of you who know me in my personal life, I arrive at my office way before everybody, even to this day, and even that day. When I was hired at a company out of college, which was a complete blessing, and the CFO, my mentor, he would get there at 7 a.m. I was like, why would you get there? He's like, so I could leave early because and so I can work quietly before anybody shows up. And I took on that mentality. I got on the train early. I didn't have to deal with the rush of people squeezing like sardines. So I get there at 7:30. So I started getting there like 7 a.m., 7:30. He and I would be in the office. We would talk about the day, talk about stuff. Just, he would be mentoring me before we start the day. And that'll be for another live, telling you about my 9/11 experience while we were there. We had a beautiful office facing the water. We faced Brooklyn Bridge and we faced the river, and we just had a beautiful view of Brooklyn. So we weren't facing the tower, so it was kind of scary not being able to see, but you could hear and feel, if that makes sense. But that'll be for another live. Of course, I want this to be as light as possible. That'll be another unscripted. Maybe y'all can script, and once I make the post, y'all can say, hey, let's talk about the 9/11 part. Or maybe we could save that closer to September because that same year is where my eldest was born. So every time I look at him, I know how many years have passed. He was born months before. And I'll tell you, I took my baby at the time on a plane soon after 9/11, and my ex-husband, husband at the time, thought I was wonkers. That was a huge fight we had. But I had a business trip to Hawaii. Was I going to miss a business trip to Hawaii? Come on now. I got to spend a week in Hawaii for business, all expenses paid, and I could bring my family? What are we doing? Of course I got to go. That was a huge fight. That was a huge disturbance, I should say. It was a huge disturbance in the force. But let's just say that we got on the plane. Okay? Let's just say we got on a plane. And that story will be for another time. Y'all, this has been fun. We did not get to music. We did get to travel and trips, what to do to prepare for Carnival. We started off with talking about, do you like, dating in the past or now with the dating apps? We talked about, graduations because my son wanted his graduation pics now while I'm on live. Forget what you're doing, Mom. I need my pictures to post now. So y'all, thank you so much for joining me. And let's keep this up on Fridays. Let's keep going unscripted. We don't know what we will talk about. We'll spend an hour and a half, or we may end up spending 2 hours, but it is driven by your interaction. Please make sure you have liked this video, okay? Make sure you like the live, you share, okay? And you have subscribed. Again, I'm going to try to promise. Now I'm going to go downstairs and tell Mr. ElCid, hey, once the channel has membership, you are the first interview. You are the first interview. He said, F this live. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I'm moving next week, folks. I'll miss you all next week. We will miss you, Samantha. Moving on to bigger and better, I'm sure. Yes, it was great. Thank you to go to Africa. Love the family we've created. I love it too. Yes, we have to You have to think of a name for our family, okay? So maybe that will be part of the next live too in the unscripted that I'm going to create a post for. Let me know what y'all want the family to be called, okay? Let me know what you want. If we could simply be the fam, just let me know, okay? But I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you on the next one.